everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Lenice, and I blend motivation with spirituality so that you can get the best benefit out of it. Today's video is on grounding, and it is a technique that you can use so that you can heal faster than ever before. Grounding is a technique that you can use to go deep into your inner wounds and heal yourself of any kind of trauma, any kind of adversity, any kind of shadow that you might have in order for you to spiritually ascend, in order for you to be successful blending that motivation and that spirituality together. So let's get started. The first thing that I wanted to say is I am not a licensed psychologist or a licensed therapist or anything like that. So if you are deeply struggling with something and you feel like you just can't handle it, please make sure you go see a professional. I am somebody who cares altruistically about you. I altruistically care about your healing, your process. I think that more people are stronger than they realize, and I think that if you feel that you don't need those kind of things, if you believe in self-help, and if you believe in self-therapy after having assessed yourself to the best of your ability on your own accord, then this is the video for you. So grounding is when you literally think about the five senses. The first sense that you want to realize is the sense of physical touch. And you want to think, okay, where am I right now in this space and time reality? Where am I? What contact do I have with the floor, with the human world? Feel your body on the floor. Right now, I'm sitting in my computer chair. My feet are planted firmly on the ground. So if I were to delve deep into my shadows, into my trauma, into my healing work that still needs to be done, the best way to do it is to ground yourself. If you read the book, The Body Keeps Score, they will tell you that this is the number one way, or one of the number one ways to heal yourself on your own and uncover what you need to uncover about a traumatic experience. Because when you read the book, The Body Keeps Score, what is really interesting is when we think about our adversity and our trauma, the brain doesn't know the difference between a memory and a thought. The brain doesn't know the difference between a memory and actual reality unless you ground yourself. So if you are imagining yourself doing something and you shut your eyes and you completely imagine it, you can actually trick your brain into thinking that that is happening. So that's good for certain skills, like if you want to become a public speaker, if you just sit down and meditate and think about public speaking, that can help amplify it. Of course, I believe the law of attraction needs the action put into the attraction. So you, of course, would have to actually speak in front of people to really hammer that point home. But when it comes to trauma, what will be beneficial for you is learning about grounding, because if what we imagine can be so powerful that our brain thinks it's real, if memories that we have from our past that might be traumatic can evoke something in us that makes us feel like that is real, then what we need to learn how to do is ground ourselves here in this reality. And when you read that book, and if you haven't read it, I'm basically giving you the Spark Notes version of it, it says that they don't have all the research yet, but it kind of feels like when we think of a traumatic memory, we go back there. We quantumly go back there. It is crazy how transcendental that book was. The Body Keeps Score. I recommend it to anyone who wants to do shadow work and explore their trauma and kind of find what treasures could be in their trauma, because sometimes trauma is, of course, it's a curse, but it can have gifts in it. It's not that the traumatic memory was a gift, of course, no, but you sometimes can learn so much about yourself through pain. So moving forward, grounding yourself is when you realize, okay, here I am on the floor. This is where I am connected to the floor. Right now, I've got like my feet pressed against the floor, but my heels up in the air. So once you go through touch, think about all the sounds that are around you when you try to ground yourself, because essentially we ground ourselves to explore our trauma. So whenever you talk about a traumatic memory, ground yourself. Just be like, where am I right now? Where am I right now? Or I'm here right now. I'm in this reality. I feel my feet connected to the floor right now. This helps if you were trying to explore a traumatic memory for yourself, or if you were trying to tell somebody about it, because if you slip into your traumatic memory, if you don't ground yourself, if you don't think about the sounds, smells, sights, tastes, feelings around you at the moment when you're trying to think about your trauma, when you're trying to do your shadow work, when you're trying to do your internal healing, what can happen is you sink back into the memory like sinking sand. That was how it was explained to me once, and that was like poof, mind blown, right? Because duh, that's what it feels like. And you can slip back into the pain, the physical pain of the traumatic memory. If you had the unfortunate event of having a painful memory, like one where someone actually physically hurt you, if you don't ground yourself when you're talking about your memory, you slip into it. You feel all of it again. You have those haptic memory sensors, because the body keeps score is called that because your cells in your body remember what happens. The body keeps the score. So if you're trying to do shadow work, do shadow healing, trying to evolve through this on your own accord, and you have assessed yourself and you realize like self-therapy is the way for you to go, which I fully respect because that's my thing. If you do that and then you are thinking about your traumatic memory, then I would implore you to ground yourself here in this moment so you don't slip back into that pain. Once you know this tip, it's one of those things where like you're always going to do it because you heard it already, so then you're just going to apply it. So now that I've explained this to you, it's as easy as that for you to recall this and then be like, okay, I'm thinking about my trauma, grounding myself, where are my feet? Just even that simple question, where am I connected with the earth? Where am I connected with the earth right now? Let your brain know, because do something for me. For a second, just like close your eyes, block your eyes. I'll do it with you. With your eyes closed, think about your brain, okay? People think that they are their brain. That's not true. Your brain is its own organ. Your brain cannot actually see. You can see. And this was described to me once on a TED Talk by someone who studied neuroscience. You can see. Your brain can't. So when you're with your eyes open staring at something, like right now I'm looking at the map that I have on my wall, my brain can't see it. My brain sees an image and it's like, oh, that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're looking at, because it's being the projection that's going into it. But if you're daydreaming and you're looking at the map on the wall, but you're daydreaming about your trauma and it almost becomes a daydream. I'm sure you've had this experience where like the daydream will like drop you into like a mental fog, and let's just shut our eyes and you daydream about something traumatic that happened to you, and your brain can't see it, can't see the world really. So the map on the wall starts to fade and then the trauma appears. So the brain starts to think, oh, that's what's happening to us. And that's why it's easy for people to re-traumatize themselves, because you re-traumatize yourself if you don't ground yourself. So as you think about your memory, as you do shadow work, shadow healing, you try to evolve, you try to have spiritual ascensions, you do that inner work, grounding yourself is key. It is key to let your brain know this is where we are. Our feet are on the floor. The map is on the wall. I'm thinking of this memory. When you do that, you let your brain have ease and you allow your nervous system to be at ease too. Because what happens is the brain avoids traumatic memory, and a lot of us have closed off traumatic memory and it's all blocked. It's called motivated forgetting. That's why people go to therapy, to try to remember their traumatic memories, because your brain shuts it off completely. It's like, nope, in order for us to function and live a normal life, we're gonna cut off that memory. But those memories are back there and they're messing with your mind, because if you look at the way that the brain is, because I'm literally obsessed with this stuff, basically like you have an emotional brain, and they'll tell you this and the body keeps score. And it stores it in the emotional brain, and the emotional brain is an older brain. Like if you look at the way that the brain was formed, what happened was like the back stuff, like the pons and the brain stem and all of that formed first. And then like the frontal lobe, as we evolved, if you study anthropology, which I took in college, as we evolve, these upper regions that deal with logic that you need to process your trauma, that's mainly in the back of your brain, at least that's how I see it. These upper regions are the ones that are gonna help you heal because we've evolved to a point where we can heal as humans. So doing your grounding work will make your emotional brain realize, okay, we're not there though. We're using logic. We're using the parts of our brain that are more evolved to understand that we're not slipping back into that memory. So then your heart rate won't increase, your body won't freak out and get you ready for fight or flight, and you will be able to process through your emotional pain a lot easier. As always, never do this if you don't feel safe. Always stop if you feel like you're out of control, and always realize that you're here, you're now, you're in this present moment. Know that I have massive support. Call on my energy whenever you're doing this. I'm giving you permission to call on my energy because I pride myself on being an infinite well of healing for all people because I know how hard it can be. So I will replenish myself. If you feel like you have nobody, you can pull on me. DM me on Instagram. If you DM me something genuine, I will reply. If it's not genuine, I might not. But if I feel that you are speaking from your soul, I pride myself on wanting to help people heal. So if you got something from this video, please give it a like, consider subscribing, and thank you so much for watching this video all the way until the end, and I will see you all in the next video.